If your YouTube thumbnails suck, then you are missing out on tons and tons of video views for your channel. If you're going through all of the hard work of creating a YouTube video, you definitely want to make sure you're giving it all of that magical boost juice that you possibly can. When your thumbnail looks amazing, you have a much better chance of grabbing your viewers' attention and getting them to click into your video and binge watch your content. By the end of this video, you're going to learn how to create YouTube thumbnails like this one and this one and this one. If you stick with me till the end, I'm going to share with you a no-brainer way to repurpose your thumbnails into other graphics to make your videos go even farther. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristin and I share branding and graphic design tips, tricks, tutorials, and productivity hacks for personal brands and online entrepreneurs. Together, we are going to make you look and feel professional online without being a trained designer or wasting hours that you don't have inside of Canva. To create these amazing YouTube thumbnails, there are a couple things that you need to have ready beforehand. Number one, you obviously need your YouTube video. Number two, you need Canva Pro. You do need Pro to create some of the effects that you've seen in my thumbnails. You need a headshot or selfie of yourself. You need your thumbnail text, and it'll be handy to have your brand fonts, your brand colors, and any other imagery or design elements that you use in your other graphics. Well, welcome to the inside of my Canva account. First things first, let's talk about the size of a YouTube thumbnail. The perfect size for your thumbnail is going to be 1200 pixels wide by 720 pixels tall. And to create this document, if you're on your home screen, you can just pop over to create a design. If you type in YouTube, you can select thumbnail. Now, I usually recommend starting with some kind of template, but for my YouTube thumbnails, I find that I start from complete scratch all the time, and when I do that, I can achieve my desired look a lot faster than trying to fiddle around with a pre-existing template. So for this example, I thought it would be fun to show you a breakdown of this thumbnail, because when you look at it, it looks like a complex graphic, but when I break it down for you, you're going to get a feeling of how the thumbnail was built, and it's going to simplify the whole entire process. This thumbnail consists of a photo of myself. I will link my brand selfie secrets in the description of the video if you want to learn how to take these professional style headshots with your smartphone. So this thumbnail is created with a headshot of myself. We have our text, and we have our icons. The next layer is this transparency. And this is one of my most favorite elements inside of Canva. And to find this, pop over to your elements. I want you to type in purple gradient that fades to transparency. It's kind of like this little hidden gem, but it is a free element, so you can go into the settings here, select free, and then I went into graphics. And what I'm looking for is this element right here. This gradient element allows you to change the color to any color that you want, likely one of your brand colors. All right, so we have the photo of myself, we have the text, we have the icons, and we have the gradient. So we are left with this little design element, which I'm gonna drop down here on this gradient so we can see it, and the background. So this background I created by making a collection of all of these blog post image templates that I had just recently created. It was really relevant and it made sense to use that as a background, but you could also use any of your brand photos or even the free photos inside of Canva for background. I'm gonna pop into this folder and let's just pull over one of my stock photos to see if we can make that work as a background as well. You want your background to cover the whole entire canvas. And what I love about this is that it creates a really unique layered look. You can drop the transparency of your background and then add on your gradients or even a full block of color to add some dimension to your thumbnail. I'll do two variations here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's drop the transparency, change the color. All right, so we have 2 different background options that would work really well for your YouTube thumbnails. And I use this technique for all of my thumbnails. I really love this layered look, and my audience likes it too. So I hope that you give it a shot. Okay, so we have our background and our color overlay. This is a really good base. So now it's time to add your headshot. Adding these headshots to thumbnails is super popular on YouTube right now, and I think it's just because your audience wants to connect with you, and if they connect with you in your thumbnail, they're much more likely to click in and watch your video. So it's pretty much a win-win. I keep all of my brand selfie headshots in one big long Canva document where I can just pop over and see what kind of selfie is going to fit my content and what kind of mood that I want my viewers to feel when they interact with my video. Surprise looks, some laughing looks, some puzzled looks. I teach all of this in Brand Selfie Secrets. Again, I'll drop a link to that in the video description because it is amazing. I'm gonna quickly show you guys how you can remove the background and achieve that outlined look that is also really popular on YouTube right now. So I have my picture in here. This works best when you have a background that's not too busy, okay? Because we're going to be going into Edit Image, and then we're going to go into Canva's Background Remover. So just click that button, and magically, Canva is going to remove the background of your image. This is what I am left with. I'm going to flip this image because my text is on the other side of the thumbnail, so I want my thumb to be pointing that way. Make sense? So let's flip that horizontal. When I put this headshot on any of my backgrounds, it is going to look like a little cutout. So many people ask me how I achieve that white outline effect on my headshots, and it's super easy to do in Canva. It's just a couple of clicks away. So with your image selected, you wanna go up into Edit Image, and then you wanna go into the shadows, okay? So click into Glow. And then that's gonna put like an outer glow around you, but that is not the look we're going for. You want your glow to be completely solid, so we're gonna bump the transparency up. You can adjust the size. The key thing is here is to take the blur all the way to the left of the slider. So now you can see we're left with an outline. And then from here, you can just choose the color that you want. You can choose any of your brand colors if they work with your design, or I oftentimes just go with white. So now I'm going to add my text. So I've already had this text typed up, but when you're adding your thumbnail text, you want to stick to 3 to 5 words. We're looking for short, attention-grabbing words or short phrases that is going to get your audience interested. So I'm just going to paste that on here. As you can see, I have angled my text a little bit just to give it a little more unique look, and I've added a turquoise background behind it just to ensure that it pops right off of that background. I highly recommend that you stick with big, bold text for your main words on your thumbnail image. I also like to incorporate, I usually add in another one of my brand fonts, this kind of scripty looking text here, to provide my audience a little bit more information about what they can expect from the video. You want to be sure to keep your text balanced with your headshot or whatever like main image you're using. So I'm going to scroll through just a couple here. You want your text to kind of play off of your headshot or other image. So definitely fill the space, and when you step back and take a look at it, if it looks like it's heavier on one side, you might need to make just a few adjustments. Here are a couple more thumbnails. Text on one side, headshot on the other. That's what I do every single time, and they turn out really, really great. Another thing that I like to do is make it unique. And what I mean by this is add in some fun little design elements that you use in your other brand graphics or collateral. For example, I use these little doodles and bursts and arrows and stuff like that. So I often will incorporate things like these. I love incorporating emojis or icons into the thumbnail. Most people really relate to emojis, and they're pretty universal, so I love incorporating those. You can try out some curved text if you want to get fancy, different text effects like I have here. I've done a drop shadow. We have the outline text. I incorporate different graphics and shapes and backgrounds into my thumbnails to make them more interesting. And yeah, let's see how this thumbnail turned out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the thumbnail and if you are going to be following this technique and process to make your own. I'm so happy you stuck with me to the end of this video because I know that I promised to show you how I make my YouTube videos go even further by repurposing this YouTube video thumbnail. So my YouTube video is like my main piece of content that I create. From there, I create a blog article, 3 Pinterest pins that go in the blog article. I create the blog post graphic. And then right now I am integrating some Instagram graphics to promote my video. I have my YouTube video thumbnail here, and I just want to quickly show you how I have transformed the thumbnail into a blog post featured image that I can use on my blog articles. So you will notice that I did kind of shimmy around and switch up the text. When you are trying to attract people with a YouTube thumbnail, like I said, 3 to 5 words is ideal, but with a blog article, they do want a little bit more information. For this, I changed it to how to create a featured image for your post or page. But I use the same background, use the same headshot. I literally just copied all of this. I'm on the page. I hit Control A on a Windows, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when I paste it in. So I paste it in, and then you are gonna have to do a little bit of resizing, but from here, you are at a really good place to kind of shift your text around, mix up the headline to create your blog post image. So that is the first image that I create. From there, I go into creating some Pinterest pins. These are the 3 pins that I created. I copy and paste, and I do sometimes incorporate some other styled stock photos to create more interesting looking Pinterest pins. If you don't know this about me by now, I am obsessed with pin design. I have a whole entire course just on designing Pinterest pins alone, but I've just copied and pasted and kind of reworked some of the headlines to create some different styles of pins, but I'm using the same background, I'm using the same icons, the same gradient, the same colors, of course, they're my brand colors. Sometimes I incorporate a screenshot of the video to make a more dynamic looking pin. All of these graphics look incredibly similar. I then create an Instagram graphic. So these are a little bit different because they're square image. I use the same background. Instead of the gradient, I used a square. I have grabbed the laptop from the Pinterest pin and some of the text from the blog post graphic and Pinterest pin combined. So this is kind of like a combination of all of the graphics, but as you can see, I started out with just the YouTube thumbnail and repurposed that into 6 different graphics. And you could go on from here depending on what platforms you're on. You could create LinkedIn graphics, you could create quote graphics for Instagram. The possibilities are really endless, but it all starts with that one YouTube thumbnail. Put a focus on your YouTube thumbnails, make them look really good, and then get the most out of your layouts and designs by repurposing your thumbnails into other graphics to market your video. I've talked a ton about your brand colors and your brand fonts and your brand imagery. So if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, Kristin, I don't have any of that, then be sure to grab my branding and design quick start guide where I'm walking you through the entire branding process and really teaching you how to create consistent graphics to market your business. I'm going to drop a link to the branding and design quick start guide in the description of this video, so be sure to grab that. Before you go, don't forget to click that subscribe button, and you can even hit that bell notification so you can continue learning how to make your business look amazing through branding and graphic design alongside me. Can't wait to see what you create. Throughout this video, you probably noticed that I talk talked a lot about using your brand fonts and your brand colors and your brand imagery. But if you're like, oh my gosh, Kristin, I have none of that, then be sure to grab my branding and design quick start guide, where I am going to walk you through the whole entire branding process and show you how you can use it to create more consistent and recognizable graphics to market your business. I'm going to drop a link to that in the video description. Pop down there and grab your copy. Before you go, don't forget to click that big subscribe button so you're notified whenever I post a new video. I cannot wait to see what you create. Bye!